The government's head statistician has fallen on his sword after an inquiry found government agencies failed to adequately protect personal data that was collected through the Census and COVID vaccination campaigns. The inquiry was launched after whistleblowers came forward alleging data had been misused to benefit Te Pāti Māori in the 2023 election. Senior political correspondent Jenna Lynch has the story.
The drive to get Māori COVID-19 vaccination rates up was a tough one. Government partnering with agencies like Te Whānau o Waipareira, led by John Tamahiri. He fought hard for access to data about those who weren't yet vaccinated. Eventually, a court ruled in his favour.
This is not right.
But what was done with vaccination data has been the subject of a major inquiry which found major failings.
The system has failed and that isn't acceptable.
I was shocked and it was totally unacceptable because it gets to the heart of public trust in the public service.
The inquiry was sparked by whistleblower allegations last year that Census 2023 and COVID-19 vaccination data provided to health and social services providers at Manurewa Marae was misused. It found unacceptable data protection processes by Stats New Zealand, including the removal of a confidentiality requirement. It also found the agency ignored staff concerns about the matter.
Well, I find it an unacceptable breach of public trust. There's got to be accountability in the system.
How can anyone have faith that their personal data will be protected given this report?
I think they've got every reason to have confidence. One of the benefits of this report is it's been a massive wake-up call for us.
A wake-up call serious enough for the Chief Executive, Mark Southland, to stand down at the end of March.
We had a number of discussions. He reached a decision which, as I said earlier, I think is the right decision, and it's one that I respect.
It was alleged census forms were photocopied and entered into a database owned by Waipareira Trust. The Public Services Commissioner referred that to the Privacy Commissioner.
While we don't know if personal information was improperly used, the opportunity was left open, which is unacceptable. 4 whistleblowers who used to work at the marae told us last year that they had mixed Te Pāti Māori campaign material with official census documents.
We hugely advocated for her by using the resources that we had. That was our job. That's what she asked us to do.
There was also an allegation Manurewa Marae collected personal information for its own purposes from those receiving vaccines, and that personal information was collected at the point of vaccination for a Te Pāti Māori text message campaign in the weeks leading up to the election. Those allegations have both been referred to the Privacy Commissioner too. Neither Te Pāti Māori President John Tamahiri nor co-leader Rawiri Waititi would comment on the findings.
Are you going to come down?
He didn't come. Instead, a spokesperson did to say no comment. In the past, the party has strenuously denied any wrongdoing. Takutai Tash Kemp, who won the Tamaki Makaurau seat for Te Pāti Māori, was the chief executive of Manurewa Marae. She narrowly beat Labour's Penny Henare by a margin of 42 votes.
I've got no doubts that Penny Henare's seat was stolen from her. I'm absolutely certain of that.
I mean, I certainly felt that the election in that seat was unfair, and the result in that seat was unfair. I think the fact that a polling booth was held at the Manurewa Marae with very active Māori Party presence really did draw into question the result there. It was such a close result.
The Electoral Commission was not subject to the inquiry.
Well, Jenna is with us now. Kia ora, Jenna. So what are the next steps from here?
So while the Public Service Commissioner does have the power to look into public services, it didn't have the power through this inquiry to look into any of those other providers. So the Te Pou Matakana, Waipareira Trust and Manurewa Marae, it only had the ability to look into the public services. Obviously, that has ended with one of the chief executives losing his job. That is Brian Roche, the new Public Services Commissioner, setting a standard for the public service going forward. He has also ordered that there will be a pause on any new contracts, renewals or extensions with those 3 providers until those agencies can satisfy the Commissioner that their contracts are fit for purpose. He's also, as a result, as some of some of the allegations, asked the Ministry of Justice to consider if changes are needed to electoral law regarding financial incentives for people switching between the general roll and the Māori roll. The Prime Minister wouldn't express a view on whether that was right or not when he was asked today. He also would not express a view as to whether there needed to be any inquiry into the Electoral Commission.
OK, Jenna, on another note, Labor has come at ACT over the Treaty Principles Bill. What's happened now?
That's right, shots fired today by Labor MP Duncan Webb. He sent out a statement saying the ACT Party, I quote, cannot be bothered putting an MP on one of the Justice Subcommittee's hearing submissions on their own Treaty Principles Bill. Now, the Justice Committee has split in two so that they can hear those masses and masses of submissions that want to be made on that contentious piece of legislation. Webb says it's bad enough that ACT has put New Zealand through the expense and anguish of this doomed bill, but to then refuse to hear oral submissions is, quote, utterly disrespectful, lazy, and it shows that this is all a stunt by David Seymour. ACT's Todd Stevenson responded to an email Webb sent him saying with only 6 non-ministerial MPs, they couldn't make it work to get someone on both of those committees.
OK, Jenna, thanks so much for the update.